we're very honored to have with us Mr. John Koudounis, Chief Executive Officer of Calamos Investments and member of the Leadership Council of the Concordia Summit. John, very nice to have you here with us today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate
it's a wonderful summit.
Thank you, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the inception of it and what the initiative is behind the Concordia Summit.
Well, I think we're on our 9th year now, and it's grown from, I believe it was 150 people in the first year that we had this to, I'm being told there's over 4,000 people in attendance today. So it's an incredible venue. We just had our leadership yearly meeting, and there's about 25, 30 of us. Half of them were heads of states. So it's an incredible group, and I'm really proud to be part of this.
What is the direction of the summit this year? What are some of the things that are on the agenda for it?
There's a lot of, I sat in a portion this morning about Ivanka Trump was leading it and was talking about women in different African countries and how we could help them in terms of leadership roles and getting them to certain levels where they could be equal like other places where they haven't unfortunately had. There's a lot of different things that we talk about. Refugees, we talk about the economy, we talk about health issues, so there's a lot of different public-private partnerships is what, the whole emphasis, and also trying to embody the young people and getting into them.
I mean, in light of the global environmental challenges that we're having, how is the financial sector adapting to the impact that it'll have on markets?
Well, there's definitely a lot of volatility out there, and we see that with all the event risks that we see, whether it be trade war, whether it be what happened last week with the drones and the attack of the Saudi Arabian oil fields. And things are different today than they were several years ago. And we see even with the attacks, oil went up, but it's recovered a lot quicker. And I think
did it impact the United States?
It did impact, but it was a lot less of an impact than it would have had a few years ago. And I think a big part of that is less of a dependency on oil that we have from that part of the world.
How is the health of the nation? What is your opinion on the health of the nation? You mentioned earlier the trade wars. Is it trade wars or is it trade negotiations? Is it renegotiating? Is it renegotiating?
Well, I think it's fair trade is probably, to me, the most important term or the more accurate term. I don't think it's a war. It's something that we're trying to get right, not just for the United States, but for the rest of the world. And I think it's time. I think now is the time to do it too, when we have a little bit of leverage. In terms of how's that impacting investors, there's definitely people on the sidelines and they're watching this. But I think just because it's volatile, people still should invest, and there's different securities and different types of instruments that people can invest to protect themselves from the downside, but also be able to appreciate in the upside. We still have a lot better yields in the US market than if you take a look at some of Asia and some of Europe. There's a lot of negative returns right now.
And what do you advise your investors to invest in? What are some of the things that you look out for and are more conservative with?
We have a lot of mutual funds, and our reputation is being very innovative, and we're great risk managers. And our portfolio managers have some really good funds in what they call liquid alt spaces. And we're one of the largest in the world. We're the third largest in providing liquid alts, and we have the largest liquid alt fund in the world as well, called Market Neutral. And this is a fund that has really done very well as of late because of volatility. And what it does is basically get you, no matter if interest rates go up or interest rates go down, it gets you LIBOR plus 300, and it's steady, and it's been around for over 29 years. So people like that stability, and so they don't have to worry about the volatility, and that's what we're seeing a lot of our customers flock to.
And I'm going to go back to the question, what are your thoughts on the health of the nation?
I think the health of the nation is still strong. The consumer is very strong. You see it as you go out to restaurants. You see them all packed. You see traveling. You see everybody with a new automobile or SUV. So I think there's definitely a lot. The consumer is strong, and if you look at unemployment, it's very healthy. It's all-time lows.
What's in the numbers?
So the numbers are there. Now, is it declining? Yeah, a little bit, but it's much stronger than the rest of the world. And I don't see a recession next year, and frankly, I may not even come in 2021. Now, having said that,
From your mouth to God's ears.
yes, we'll see what happens with the elections, because a lot of it hinges on that, and that hinges on people's philosophy and how they feel.
You're of Greek descent and you do a lot for the homeland. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on the situation of Greece today and how, what are your thoughts on how did the Greeks survive such a long recession and such a long economic crisis? Are they out of it finally? Are they coming out of the referendum?
Well, I think there's definitely an upswing, and there's no question that there's a renewed sense of optimism with the new prime minister, and that's great, and you hear it and you see it, and they're definitely trying, and there's put things in place where the austerity measures, have worked, and they're working, and to see the country start to be a little bit more optimistic and get flows from the other people outside the diaspora, I think there's going to be a lot more people investing in Greece, which will also help it. So I think we're in the right direction. I think the fact that the new prime minister is there with a great attitude towards investment and trying to better the country. And it does help that he has ties with the United States as well. So I'm pretty optimistic. Although we're not out of the woods, it's definitely in the upswing.
And you're a great philanthropist, you and Mr. Calamos as well. Tell us a little bit about some of your support towards aligning yourself with the sustainability goals and some of the initiatives that you guys do, the things that you donate and you help with.
Well, there's a lot of different things that we're involved in. I'm on the board of the THI, Hellenic Initiative. We're having our annual gala this Friday, which I think is a great program that we were on the ground trying to help Greece, whether it be immunizing the kids, whether it be the refugee crisis, whether it be the internships around the world that we were giving. And that's something that's dear to me. I'm on the board of the National Hellenic Museum in Chicago, that we're trying to continue and talk about the immigrant story and Hellenism, which is really important and due to our house. And even in all of our funds that we manage and stuff, we're implementing ESG measures where we're looking at environmental and sustainability and everything that we do, and we score all our funds, and we look to see how they rate amongst other funds in that capacity, and we're aware of it, and we're trying to do the best. We don't make decisions of investments on that, but we do have it as a criteria when we screen all our funds. So we like to think that we are involved, and we try to make a difference. It's a big carry, but all we can do is try.
So you're a big supporter of corporations giving back to the community.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the Foreign Press Association set.
Thank you very much.